call this regular meeting for the city of San Juan at 6 p.m. May we rise for invocation. Mr. Juan, can you lead us, sir?
Yes. Bow our heads. Dear Father, we thank you for the opportunity together this day and for the many gifts that you give us, especially the gifts of life. We ask for your guidance throughout this meeting. All of our thoughts and actions we put in your will, and that you will grant us the grace to make the best decisions for our staff and city. As we always pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. And face the flag for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May be seated. Under public comments, Ms. Diana, do we have anybody signed up or any? No? Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yes, good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, staff, community. The first item on the agenda, Mayor, is presentations. Tonight we have presentation on departmental reports. Tonight we have Department of Municipal Court and Department of Utilities. All those departments are here, ready, available, should you have any questions.
Any questions for the directors?
I have one.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Chief Garza, I was looking at the fire inspections. Family Dollar did not pass inspection twice. Did they ever come back and pass inspection?
And we've been having a lot of issues with
them?
the management team from that business. We've given them ample time, and we can't get no compliance from them, ma'am. So it's non-compliant. Well, I mean, shutting them down is not one of them, but it's just a matter of, we actually prefer compliance, but the lady that manages that facility, she's totally against, she's just overstocked. That's her story all the time, but the aisles are blocked. I think somebody with handicap or disability can't get through there. Okay. So we'll probably just wind up sending a certified letter to the main corporation and see if we can have them come down and see if we can get compliance.
Is that the first step? Is that the step you, I mean,
Yes, sir.
what do you do? I mean, besides they don't comply and they don't, I mean.
Well, we just put it in non-compliance, Commissioner, and should there be an incident there as far as either a fire or somebody falls, documented there, non-compliance. Correct, yes, sir.
Going on since April, right?
Correct,
According to
yes, ma'am.
To the report.
Correct. And it's been practically on a yearly basis and you know, but her thing is that she's just overstocked, but we need those aisles cleared. We need the distance that's required by ADA. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Chief of Police. Mr. Marin, I know that I had told you something about parking in front of the mailboxes.
Yes, sir.
And you gave me the answer of, it's a public road, anybody can park there. I don't know, I'm asking also the commission, what can we do or how can we work something out where these people, the neighbors keeps on parking in front of the lady's mailbox? And but they won't drop off your mail if there's a car right in front of you. That's the only thing. I don't know, do you know any idea, Chief, what can we come out, city commissions?
Commissioner, what I've researched and what I'm familiar with is that a lot of cities do implement or enforce or enact a city ordinance in reference to parking signs, in reference to limiting the parking during certain hours. That's a possibility that the commissioners could, or the commission can kind of look into, research, or with the city attorney to see if we would be able to implement something to that nature. I know that normally it's like from 6:30 to 4:30 and so forth. So it's just a matter of writing down a city ordinance that would be found to be within the legal realm and to limit that. And so that's one of the issues or one of the solutions that I've seen, and I know some cities do implement that.
What can we do?
Or whatever we need to research a little bit, Rick, because I mean, I would have a
Yeah,
problem.
'cause I
If
know
wasn't
that-
getting my mail.
Yeah, because I know there's areas where we do have signs, can park
Another
between,
car, you know.
and I know it's on, we had them there on Sam Houston, on your subdivision, they're outside on the street because we did it, I mean, I don't know how either the school got together with with, Rema wasn't there yet, and they do put signs that can park between 7 to 9:30 and from 2 to 4, because
Yes.
the kids keep on crossing the street.
That's correct, sir. And again, I've actually had, especially
Okay.
living up north, I've seen some in the East Austin area, in the San Antonio area, where residential areas, they do have those signs limiting the parking during certain periods. So I've seen them being enforced, so.
Okay,
I think another issue we can do is probably reach out to the postmaster to see exactly, that's their jurisdiction, the
That's
the
correct.
mail. And maybe we can work something out where we can come into, figure out, like, maybe there's an ordinance in place where it deals with, specifically with the mailbox.
Mailbox, that's correct, sir.
Right,
Yeah, but
Right.
we need to be specific on the
Right.
language.
right, correct.
Because, I mean, if someone who's parking in front of someone else's mailbox and it's at 11 at night, well, we all know that the mail doesn't
The
get
mail
delivered.
doesn't, yeah, exactly.
yeah, well, yeah, it
Well,
has to be
that's,
during the day,
you
because I
understand,
think it's
Mr.
from,
Palacios, just,
Yeah.
we kind of really,
I'm not certain, Commissioner, if it's jurisdiction for the mail, but I think it's, because if it's a city street, residential, it would certainly be the jurisdiction of the city.
Yes, mhm.
And what we can do is, an ordinance can be done, restricting any public parking on any right-of-ways for the city during certain times. And
Gotcha.
that's how we can address that. It could be, you could designate in certain areas, or you could say all residential streets or whatever, during the times of, if you're trying to address regarding the mail, from the times of 9 AM to 12 or whatever, 9 to, 8 to,
yeah, because, I
whatever.
mean, there's, obviously, we all know that there's, neighborhoods and families have parties and gatherings.
Yeah.
And, they park, on the other side of the
And you
street
can
in
even
front of the.
restrict it from like a mailbox, like 5 feet to
Yeah.
each direction of a mailbox, and put that specific language on the ordinance. If those are the issues that you want to protect, we can certainly look at the language too.
Of course, maybe not blocking the driveways either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely,
Definitely
that's ingress,
driveway.
egress of the
I,
public.
but do we even have an ordinance indicating that?
To my knowledge, I don't believe that.
No,
there's
no,
one
sir,
right
there's
now on
no
the
law
right-of-ways.
right now. Well, I'm sorry, there's no city ordinance in reference to drive, but it is the law. That is the law, that you
Okay.
cannot park in front of residentials blocking their driveways.
Yeah, of course, for an emergency purposes.
Correct. Now, the other thing that the city ordinance does play a big part is, especially with handicap vehicles, people that are dropping off and picking up, especially school students that have the ramp, they need that. Right now, there's nothing to protect them from having that open space, as you know, the ramp coming down. So sometimes we'll see buses off in the middle of the road unloading those children and even the adults that need wheelchair access. So that would be a big part for those folks, also big assistance to them.
My next question is for Patrick Willingham. Were you able to get the totals for the rental of the parks?
They're on the.
You had on the agenda? Okay, that's fine. I'm okay. I'm good.
I got two. I guess the first one is for Mr. Salinas. In reference to the detention pond that I had brought up to you.
Yes, sir.
I know that when I was walking in, you gave me some good information as far as reaching out to the owners of the location. Can you share a little bit of what's transpiring?
After our last meeting, I did reach, they called me back today. I did speak to Ms. Heather Martinez, and she talked to their upper management, and what they sent over a aerial of their property, and they're asking us to show a detail of how much property we're asking and what it entails, whether we're looking to do a long-term lease or whether we're looking to purchase. When I did talk to them on the phone, I advised them that we would like to consider taking it over and maintaining it. Based on their response, it looks like they want to enter some kind of a long-term agreement with the city, either through a purchase or through a lease, and then, of course, we'll maintain it. And it all depends on what it is that we send them back and the amount of property that we're asking for. It's a total of 4 parcels that they have out there. One of them is 14.3 acres. The other one is 5, and another one's like 9, and then the last one is like 4. But it's all combined. But they're interested to come to the table and talk and see what the city has to offer.
Great. And so by maybe, you know, having the detention ponds over there, can you share a little bit what that does as far as the flooding issues over here towards the south or around the surrounding areas?
What it would allow for, once the detention facility that's over at the Public Works Department, which is our main detention facility for the south side, will allow for more water to be detained, and thus getting it off the roadways, getting it off the main drainage, and allowing for more time for water to drain. So hopefully it'll allow for less flooding in some of the downtown area.
Great. And so how much land do you think we basically need for something like that? About 5 to 7 acres, or?
Well, right now, the areas that are clear, it looks like the total about 9 to 10 acres that are
Okay.
available. We would need to see if we could work them into, based on the depth of the current infrastructure, because our line's already in the street. So we need to look at that first and find out how deep we can actually make the detention ponds and not turn them into a hazard, because that's one thing, we don't want to create another hazard by trying to eliminate a hazard, and see how much land we would need to move as much water off of it. The first thing to look at is the old drainage plan that was put together the drainage study that was done back in 2010, and see what kind of capacity they were looking at then and how much detention was required on that. But I'm guessing we can probably get anywhere close to 5 to 10 acres off of that, off of the total acres that got there for detention. How deep they're gonna be, it all depends on the pipe. I don't know the exact depth of the pipe in the middle of the street. But it'd be a substantial amount of water that we could detain there.
I guess if you can just continue exploring that,
Yes, sir. I'll get with Mr. Arjona to see about reaching
Yeah,
out to one of
exactly.
the engineers and start doing some calculations.
and then maybe on our next commission meeting, bring it up and.
Try to bring something back.
Yeah, so see where you're at on that,
Yes, sir.
okay?
Not a problem.
But I guess my next question is for Chief Morin in reference to the National Night Out, sir. I know, I guess we had spoken about, what is it, on August 12th?
That is correct, sir.
And-
Excuse me, that is correct.
Where are we at with that, or have you reached out to different sponsors to help for supplies and stuff like that?
Right now, what we did, we partnered up with PAL, PAL is also part of this, and we just ordered the signs for the advertisement. EDCs also has been offered their assistance to help us out and solicit the local businesses and for donations. And so we are passing out our local businesses the letterhead to participate, also looking for sponsors, and that is still how we're going to manage, is whether we choose to collect a fee for be able to do the vendor, or part of it, the agreement would be that they will actually do the donation of X amount of number of backpacks with all the school supplies. So that's still, I don't think we've made a final determination as to we would collect the fees, or they would submit the actual backpacks. But that is an option that we're addressing with hopefully the vendors that we collect. They did advise me that we have several of them already in line that they want to participate in this event. So we are shooting between 6 to, I believe it's going to be from 6 to 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock that evening on a Thursday. And we are also looking to make more of a bigger event. We are planning to have a stage out there with a DJ. Hopefully we'll have some rides. We really want to make this a community night out, and to have, of course, first responders from the fire department to ourselves and anybody else that would like to come out there as first responders are also inviting our local agencies, FAR PD, School District, Alamo, and of course the Sheriff's Office, and hopefully it'll be a bigger thing. Now, contingent of that the pandemic as it's going, we might have to have a contingency plan, and to where we might just go back to just do the line and pass out the backpacks. So we're hoping that we don't get shut down, and we're able to celebrate that evening. But if it is, we already also have talked about the contingency of just canceling everything but just having a drive-through it's going to be at the park, city parks are also.
At the municipal park?
Yes, the municipal park.
Great, okay. I guess my next question too, Chief, as well. You know, I remember when we first met with the budget, right?
Yes, sir.
I know all the directors had their wish list, and, you know, it's, obviously, as a commission, it'd be great to give you guys everything you need, but reality, you know, it's a budget-driven, so we really need to dissect everyone's budget. But like going in reference to yours specific.
Yes, sir.
You know, the wish list that you came up with and the different stuff that you are asking for the commission to approve, did you get that information off? I know I don't think you were here, but there was an assessment done here at the PD. And did you get any information in reference to the assessment coming out and asking for these particular items?
No, sir.
You did it?
No, sir.
Okay, okay. Have you seen the assessment before?
No, sir.
Okay. Whatever happened with that, Arjona? Oh, you do? Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay, 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 'cause I was wondering if that's where he got the wishes. Well, can you do me a favor and give him a copy tomorrow? And so that way he can go over it and see what else, you know, what else is in there. But at the end of the day, you know, we really need to, I mean, not only you, but the rest of the directors really dissect our wish list. But that was my question, to see whether your wish list was coming from this assessment that was done prior.
Right.
So
No,
you're telling me you haven't seen the assessment?
that is correct, sir.
Oh, okay, I got it, okay.
Yeah.
So if you can give them a copy tomorrow, I appreciate that. Thank you. Any other questions?
No, I agree with that, so he can go based off of that, you know?
Is that something we're all privileged to see also, the assessment? This was before me, so I don't know if the commission got one. Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
We haven't seen it.
But I thought that's where you were basing,
No, that assessment, my wish list basically came out from my own assessment.
oh, your own assessment?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
I should have asked this question during the budget workshop, but, you know, we were going 100 miles an
Correct.
hour, so,
Correct, sir.
you know, but, okay. Yeah, if you can just get that copy, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Mr. Garza, how are we doing with the yards? I've seen you guys out there. I know you guys are trying to put it up, and, I mean, all I can tell you is just make sure that you guys drink water, man. They doing a good job. Yeah, I went to some of them already, and, you know, and I know you have a list, and, I mean, it's hard to get them all, but, you know, you're doing good. Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Any other questions for the directors? If not, we'll go ahead and move on. Go ahead, sir.
Next item, we have a presentation on the upcoming season for emergency management. Chief is here with us to talk about the hurricane forecasting, how many we're going to be getting, hopefully none.
I guess we're pretty much into hurricane season already. I guess we can set up at a later date. I'll just give you a quick update on the recent rains that we've had. Back in the 18th, we distributed sandbags. We did 2 locations. We did 800 in Mayfield, and we did 1,200 at the recycling. We replenished those. Right now, we're up to par. I think we all play a major role in this as far as coordinating these events, these floodings that we've had, and I'm glad to hear that we're looking at one option to mitigate some of the flooding. And of course, we work diligently to try to work with the residents as far as the sandbag distribution. Sometimes it gets a little bit hectic, but of course, we've been able to withstand and getting it done. A lot of times, you know, once the storm passes over, a lot of people tend to think that those sandbags are just, you know, throw them away. Every time we have a storm, phone calls start coming in, and they want sandbags. But we've pretty much, on an average, on a yearly average, you know, we normally about 35 to 4,000 sandbags. So we've already put out about half. So August and September is the busiest season for us. As far as the storms, it was a year ago, I think a couple of days ago, that we had Hannah. I know some of the debris just got picked up, and of course, the winter storm played a major role on that too. So we're just getting caught up on that, and everybody, like I said, every department always puts their part, utilities with the pumps, and trying to get these areas that flood, get them cleared out as soon as possible. The last storm that we had, One area of concern was on Olana and Jenica and 41st. Out there, they were pretty swamped. No water penetrated the residents, but there was an alternative to get that subdivision cleared out, and it was making a contact with the irrigation district. We made the contact, gentleman called Mr. Arjona, and he approved for us to use that valve to get that subdivision drained out. Took a couple of hours, but we got it drained out. It's just a matter of compiling and being prepared, which we all are. Should the need come, of course, as far as any threat or anything like that, I will say that as far as staff and the city, we're prepared to take on whatever comes our way. We'll do a tabletop if that's what you all desire, and we'll go over our plan as far as for evacuations, should we need to do evacuations. Our MOUs are currently up to date with the school and with the American Red Cross for evacuations and shelter.
What about with the county? Do we
With
have
the
any?
county?
Yeah.
The county pretty much calls the shots, Mayor, when we go into a threat like that, a tropical storm or a hurricane itself. We go into the unified command, and we go under their orders, which we've done it before. We try to stay with their plan because, of course, the shelter that they have designated for us, the first round, is PSJ North. Then once that fills up the capacity, then we set up to our plan to which it'll be one of our schools here in the city. Evacuation should occur. We work hand in hand with the county when it comes to resources. So they're pretty much up to par. If we need anything, it's just a matter of filling out the documents and we get whatever we need. And just prepare for the worst.
So are we gonna come back later at a future date to have this?
I can, like the way we did it, but the
Yeah.
one we had, I think was 2 years ago, Mayor.
Correct, correct.
Yeah, that we all had we called a special meeting and we went over the plan and what our plan is, or our action plan actually is, should we get something coming.
And that
our
was
way.
very effective, and I know we did it live stream, and the citizens were very,
Yes, sir.
impressive when we had that meeting. So I
Yeah.
really think that we should do it again,
Sure.
and maybe just blast it out on social media once, just kind of informing, the plans to be safe and.
And I play a major role with us. As soon as we get notification of any, well, of course, we have the Everbridge, which starts putting out the weather alerts,
Correct,
the
correct,
threats
correct,
and all that.
correct.
Thunderstorms and of course, lightning, like that. That's a big plus. We work all hand in hand and we get it done.
Well, Chief, we're at your mercy. You're the expert in this, and,
Well, we're pretty
I
much
know
ready
we
to go.
call you, hey, what do you think, Chief, about?
Yeah.
And you gave us a heads up, let's wait a little bit. I know I've talked to Arjona, and we all,
Yeah, I think, it's worked out. Like I said, everybody puts in their personnel and a lot of times it's limited on what we can do. But I mean, we've gotten it done for the past 16 years and this is the 17th. And the plus that we have now is that we got a boat that's available. We got personnel that are trained for swift water should that occur.
Let me ask you this now,
Yes,
as
sir.
far as the pumps. I know we spoke a little bit about pumps during the budget workshop. I know I mentioned about leasing,
Mm-hmm.
and then we also mentioned about purchasing. I don't know, obviously, we're still in the process during this budget, but, as far as maybe looking into what's the best option for the city, is to lease, or do we try to purchase? What, I want to hear from you.
My recommendation, Mayor, when it comes to pumping and these flooded areas, all we do is pump and the water's just circulating. So that water gets out of these drainage ditches, that it starts going east, the water starts receding, then we start flowing. So if we don't have nowhere to pump, I'm not saying not to get any pumps, but I'm saying, are we actually gonna be effective in utilizing, I know they help David a lot, because when his lift stations go out, of course, that they can be utilized for that, but a good 85% of the time, there's nowhere to pump. And I don't know, Mr. Arjona will agree with me on that, and David, it's the capacity. That's why these subdivisions flood. Yeah, it's too much rain, and I don't know if you recall some time back that we had those 9 inches that came down. I mean, there was nowhere to
I
pump.
know, yeah.
But to have them, it's a good idea, so I would think it'd be a good idea just to go on with a company that probably just a lease and have them readily available.
Once we set them out, then they'll start charging.
Yeah, because I think, David, what was the price on a pump, David? 8? Yeah. And a lot of times what's happening, and, you know, we all welcome new subdivisions and everything, but that's what the problem is, because there used to be open fields, and now they're gonna be
Yeah, that's where the
residential.
water would saturate. And
Yeah.
Yeah, now that it's been developed, where's that water gonna go?
So, I mean, we're here to work and to do the job that, or the task, whatever comes our way. I feel confident that we can succeed and go into the recovery the way we've done it before. 2-3 days, we're good to go.
I guess we'll get, Mr. Arjona, we'll get with you,
Sure.
as far as having that little round table, how we
Sure.
did last time.
Yes, sir. We'll
Okay.
get it done.
Any questions for Chief? We're good. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. You're welcome.
Next item, Mayor Commissioners, under ordinances, we have considered adoption of an ordinance amending Chapter 1, General Provisions, Article 1.05, Administrative Fees, Section 1.05.006, San Juan Memorial Park, Section 1.05.007, Mayfield Park, and Section 1.05.009, Parks and Recreation of the City of San Juan's Code of Ordinances to consolidate all provisions related to parks and recreation fees under Section 1.005.006 to be renamed as Parks and Recreation Fees to include additional related fees for the San Juan Sports Complex and the San Juan Municipal Park, providing for effective date, providing for publication, providing for codification, providing for severability clause, and providing for repealer clause. Mr. Willingham?
Mayor, Commission. So what we've done here is, we've had upgrades to Municipal Park. We've had a change of name to the sports complex. And over the last few years, we've actually done a lot of maintenance work on these areas. And we're still in process of continuous upgrades, but we've made quite a bit of headway on that. So it was time to look at the fees and the rental fees and start updating them, as well as our registration fees for all our programs. Unfortunately, right now, everything is going up. Everything that we buy, everything that we use is getting more expensive. So we had to look at all our fees to make sure that we can operate efficiently and effectively, especially during this upcoming year, which, God willing, we're back up to 100% capacity. So I don't know how you want me to do this. You want me to go location by location, just kind of give you an overview, and if you have any questions, we can do it that way. So first, the San Juan Sports Complex, which is right over here on the corner of Ridge and San Antonio. Our rental fees for practices were $30 a field for 2 hours. That's gone up to $45. If they want to rent for a tournament, it's $200 per day. Now, right under there, the price drops if there's an agreement between the tournament host and the city by where they want to turn over the concession, and we run the concession. We'll drop it a little bit because we're going to keep all the concession fees. And then, of course, if they want to give us the gate and concession, it goes even more. You know, we'll drop the fee a little bit more. Now, that has to be an agreement. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to accept it. The fee is what it is.
Is there any way where the city can just take full charge of the concession stand every time they run a tournament?
We can. I mean, it's going to probably turn away some business, but we can.
Well, and the reason why I say that, because I'm looking at the fees, and me personally, I think they're a little low. You know, did you?
Now, that's per field, per day.
Yeah, I got that.
Bases feels like compared to other
Yes,
cities?
yes, we compare it to
That was-
where they host tournaments right now, which is in Palmview, which is in Edinburgh, and we're right in line with per field. The thing is, some of those complexes have more fields to offer. So you rent it, you know, it costs $800 a day, but it's 4 fields in one location. So it's $800 for the facility instead of $400 for ours because it's only 2. Or $600 because we could do
because
3
it
over
remembers
here
per day.
if they want the small one as well. So it could be $600 over here, or $600 for 2 over here. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. But we're very comparable. We're actually more on the turf fields than most places because they're turf. So we went up a little bit more on there.
I guess I'll make my comment in reference to turf fields when we get there.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
But that's the sports complex,
Okay.
right, over here. So we move over to Municipal Park. Okay, and then we did put a clause in there, and this was, and of course, this can be accepted or we can change it. I mean, this doesn't have to be by where if they did all 4 fields, if they came in and said, okay, we're gonna have a good-sized tournament, you know, we require insurance, we require, you know, all the proper documentation, so we know it's a legitimate event. If they do all 4 fields, we'll do a $25 discount per field. What we figure is every time we're expanding and using more and more fields, that means people are coming to the city. So they're coming to the city, they're gonna buy gas, they're gonna eat somewhere. So there's gonna be an economic impact on the city, as well as what we charge in rental fee. So that was another consideration we took into the pricing of the fields, because we wanna be fair, we don't wanna go real high, because the more we can, if we can do all 4 fields, because they're within a mile from each other, well, you're talking anywhere from a 32 to a 50-team tournament. That's 50 teams coming in here. Even if half of them decide to eat at a local restaurant, put gas, you know, just, I mean, that's an economic impact to us.
Have we gotten calls in reference to tournaments wanting to rent all?
We've gotten a few phone calls, yes.
All 4 fields?
Oh, yes, yes. Mhm. Yeah, we've gotten a few. We haven't really made it public yet.
Yeah.
I'm sure once we do, it'll pick up.
Okay.
But, so that's the sports complex. We go to Municipal Park. The practice fees are $75 for 2-hour block. We kind of work with them a little bit, you know, a little bit before, a little bit after. We thought about cramming in, you know, teams every 2 hours, but at the same time, we can do 2 fields a day, you know. We also want to preserve the turf. We don't want to overrun it and just get, I mean, just team after team out there. It's done well with a $75. On the tournament, it's $300 per field per day. And then, of course, there's small discounts. And of course, we can keep those discounts or we can do away with them. It's totally up to you all. Those are just things that we put in there in
I have a
case they
question
want to go.
regarding the turfs. Like, say when you rent out the turf fields, do you have rules in place? Like they're not
Yes.
allowed to bring food or drinks and the specialty of the shoes and stuff like that? Do we have that
Correct.
in place?
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of it's posted out there. A lot of it's posted
That
out
way
there.
whoever
And then
rents
we
it-
have somebody, we have our park enforcers on
I just want to
staff
make
that
sure,
go out
like,
there.
that they sign off on a contract, that they sign off knowledge,
Correct.
whoever's renting out the fields, whether it's for practice or for tournaments, they sign off on it so that we preserve the fields and all the money that was put into
Correct.
it.
And, you know, I didn't put this in here, but I was going to bring it. So we wanted to add a deposit to this. Because if we find the field Monday morning and it's trashed and there's seeds and, you know, stuff like that, hey, those $300 are gone. Because that's what's going to cost us to pick up.
My recommendation for fields, and only the turf fields, that we don't use any metal cleats.
Oh, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no.
But I've seen it.
Yes.
I've seen it, and I
Yes.
think we need to stress it on whoever's renting the fields or whoever's throwing the tournaments, that you're only allowed to use the turf shoes or the molded cleats.
Okay.
You know, so just to save the life of our
Preserve
turf.
the field.
Yeah. So I think somewhere there, you know, you can,
And prevent injuries.
true.
And for
Anybody getting spiked and, you know, but, okay.
we
And
could add
going
that.
back to the $300, you said $300 per field.
Per
for
day.
Turf, right?
Per field, per day. Correct.
You don't think that's a little low? I mean, they're state-of-the-art fields.
Yeah,
And for $300, you know.
Tournaments?
I can guarantee you, someone who comes over here a weekend, they're gonna charge $1,200. I mean, they're gonna make money. Everyone wants to play on turf.
sure.
So I think if we were to increase the 300 to maybe, I don't know, $400, 350, 400.
What
I
was
don't
your
know
what was your comparison on turf fields compared to
Well,
other
there's no other
neighboring-
turf fields to compare.
We're the only ones.
We're comparing it to what, pretty much the average cost is about $200 a field for natural grass, so we upped it another 100 for turf. But we can go 2. I mean, that's fine. you know, this is just
I-
kind
I'm
of the
just
first
saying, I mean, this is
proposal.
my opinion. $300 for turf field?
I mean,
300
that's fine. I
What
mean,
is
we
the
can-
condition right now, since they've been used right now and since we
Oh,
know that some,
they're in great condition.
they're immaculate still?
Oh, yeah, they're.
Then I think we need to,
Or something else, either that, Mr. William, or
using it, but
try
they
to
didn't
talk
even
to, PJ, try to talk to Orlando and Mel Rios, how do they rent for tournaments? Or-
I did, and
because
they
I know
haven't
that
had a tournament.
They haven't had a tournament,
They
right?
haven't had one. Now, they'll lend them to us if we're gonna have an
No,
event
yeah, of course.
to use their field, but they don't charge us if it's a Parks and Rec.
Yeah, because I know when there's two playoff games, they're coming from out of town, I know they rent them. But
Well, yes, it's a
I really
turnkey,
don't know, but-
it's a turnkey operation, that's a UIL deal.
Look into it, because, I mean, at $100 may not, I mean, like you're saying, I think a lot of teams would still, they make a lot
Okay,
of money.
no,
on
I mean,
tournaments.
we're the
And
only
you know
ones
they're gonna
having
make a
them.
lot of money, because they're.
You wanna do a 400?
Now,
Let
let me ask you this. The $300 that you're proposing, is that with lights?
Yes,
No, I think you need to hack it up, you know.
okay.
Control the lights anyways.
No, yeah, exactly.
But if they want to use the lights, make it separate,
You can,
150, I don't know, whatever the cost may be.
Well, yeah, you can do it like that, too.
Right.
Yeah,
and then also, Mr. Willingham, on that, you know, saying like you're giving discounts, yeah, it'll be great if they give you the concession stand, we don't have a
Yeah,
problem on discount. But if they don't, well, then.
Oh,
you
no,
just
no,
go for
that's
the-
only if they
If,
do it,
yeah.
yes.
Oh, yeah, I think you need to raise it.
No, but we can, and everything would go up as far as even the discount. It would all increase by 100.
Right, correct. In most venues, that's what they do, where the concession, you take away the concession, there's an extra fee, to not, for the city not to able, or actually any venue, for them not to continue the concession. So you can sell it, you can take a concession, but there's gonna be a fee associated with it, which most venues do that. I'm aware of that, so.
And you said you have somebody there enforcing the rules as far as like the shoes and all that stuff, the
Oh,
drinks,
yeah.
the food's on there, right? You'll have somebody on the premises. Okay.
Have any signs there in the park that specify that? No use
The-
of cleats and?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we do, they're already up. And for the most part, they're very well respected. We haven't had, am I gonna say that we don't have absolutely any problems? No, there's always a team, there's always a couple of people that, you know, we have to either, we catch them and we have to remove it, or, but for the most part, they've been very respectful for it, and they've abided by the rules.
And I guess my last question to you, Mr. Willingham, is I know we mentioned about running the fall high school baseball league. Was that included here on your fees? Because I know you have the softball, I didn't see that, like you have the softball and men's softball league, you have your football, but
No, well,
how?
we run it as we run it per individual as well, so it's $45 per kid
For the high school league?
for the high school league as well.
Okay.
The same as the baseball registration fee, it's 45.
Oh, that's how you're gonna do it?
So we run it the same, because
Is
for
that
them,
how
we
you
don't
did it the
provide
last time?
uniforms. I'm sorry?
Is that how you did it the last time?
No, because the first gave them a flat fee, but now that we're implementing this, it's gonna be $45 per kid.
So obviously you make more money.
Yes,
The
yeah,
city
everything will
make
go
more
up a
money.
little bit, yeah.
Perfect,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, sir.
I guess,
So, oh, there was another, on the multi-purpose field, which is behind there. So we have a nonprofit event that comes in, it's just open to the community, open to the public, it's $500 rental. If it's a ticketed event, we charge them $1,500. And then we also have some other items as far as like if they need the electrical boxes, it's $250 per day for that additional.
now let me ask you this. Has anybody checked the electrical boxes?
Yeah,
Like,
Yes.
and they're up to par?
yes,
So if someone were to go in and rent the facility, the grounds, they're
if
good
they
to go?
rent those, yes, yes.
Okay, now, going back to the ticketed events, for this fee, what entitles this fee?
That's just the bare rental.
That's just the ground.
That's just the grounds.
Okay, now, obviously, there has to be a cleaning crew. Okay? Whatever, they decide to do there, there's gotta be a cleaning crew. Someone needs to pick up the trash. How does that work? Is there a fee that we should maybe tack on additional fee?
Or it's included in the
Like,
1,500?
is the event responsible, or are we responsible?
I have a contract that we're working on. We included to where they're responsible for trash bins or we can add a fee, and then we take care of it.
Okay, but what about the manpower?
Well, that would be,
To go
that would be
out.
included in that fee.
Okay,
We'll provide the trash bins and all that, the manpower to pick up the trash.
that's my point.
Yes.
That's what we need
That's gonna have to
to
be separate.
make sure, and we clarify that, because that plays a big role.
I think that would be like a deposit, Mayor, also, we consider deposit, so we can.
How much is a deposit?
Well, actually, what you do is I would imagine you would
You
add
give them
the
the
time,
option?
hourly, personal time, and then, the trash fee and so forth, because it's gonna take manpower, so you have to cover those expenses as far
For
as per
that
hour.
reason, do you give them a choice? Mr. Woodham? You give them a choice, right? I mean,
To do what?
verbally you ask them, you give them a choice? If they're gonna do it.
If they're gonna
as
clean it-
mandatory,
We can.
or give them a choice at different set rates, obviously,
It'd be 1,500 flat or,
we're gonna pick it up.
2,000
it's
and
gonna be
we
this
do the-
price,
we do the
they're gonna
trash.
Pick it up, it'll be this price, plain and simple.
right,
And come
one
to
or the
the-
other, like a 1,500 or a $2,000, $500 fee for
Either
for
way,
trash
so the
pickup.
coverage of
pickup?
whoever's doing the work gets
I
paid.
say 2,500 if we're picking it up.
And then to be separate, right?
Because it's manpower, there's, now, it's gonna be several.
Trash fee and all.
Rental of the baseball fields, softball fields. If there's a tournament, who's gonna be responsible for picking up all the trash? Is it gonna be the city, or is it gonna be the person,
Private, tournaments that go on.
So what would be a cost, Mr. Garza, as far as containers that we're gonna be putting up on the fields? Mr. Garza, calling Earth, Mr. Garza, Earth calling Mr. Garza. Mr. Garza, so what would be más o menos the cost of putting some of those containers and the manpower for us to go pick it up and dump it over at the landfill? Okay. Event.
But include your manpower, also your manpower, your gas, your truck, all that going out there and coming back. It's not just the ton of the trash. Going and coming. So you have to take all that into account also.
Yes, sir, I agree.
If we're gonna do all the work, 1,000 sounds
Right.
reasonable. You make it 25.
Because we're gonna lose that manpower
25,
from the
30.
city to go take care of the event.
Buy the containers, the bins, pretty much all of that. Okay.
2,500, okay. In Turkey, okay. And then, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go to $500 on the turf fields, because that's gonna include the pickup and. So we're gonna go
It'll be a turnkey as well.
$1,000 a day,
Just what
Turnkey.
said, turnkey.
yeah.
Yes.
That way, we just include it all from one time. But I am gonna do a $300 deposit, because if they leave trash, then, obviously we're
Well,
not,
and the purpose of it, of having this nice field and stuff, is because it was gonna generate revenues and
Yeah.
stuff, and we gotta start putting a plan of action, that way we do generate that.
okay? Then we'll make those two adjustments on there.
Okay, so are you done? You're not done, right?
No. Did you have a question?
Well, yeah, I do, but I'll wait till we get to the fees. It's because I'm kind of lost, because I know we're all over the place, so.
Okay, so we're sticking to the park.
Okay.
So, in addition to that ticketed
Okay.
event. We also put there, we also put a note that we will collect $75, 75 cents for every $5 worth of ticket. In other words, if they sell a $10 ticket, $1.50 comes back to the city. Now, you follow me? Okay, so I talked to a couple of promoters and well, they don't have it anymore, but what FAR used to charge, and we're right in line with that. We're right in line with the amphitheater in Hidalgo County that hosting concerts over there at the island. The only thing that we didn't do
Not necessarily per ticket, it's per.
per value, for every $5. However, what I found out after the fact is that they all cap it at $3. Regardless. So if it goes $35 ticket, it's still $3. It's not $5. And that's pretty reasonable because, I mean, you can't go up and up and up. We're not gonna be collecting $10 or $12 and, then we cut into, I mean, we want to have the event and still collect. If it's gonna be that big of an event and they're gonna bring that many people, we're still gonna collect on our end, plus we're bringing people to the city and there's other benefits as well. So we do want to cap that at $3.
I'm gonna go back real quick with a question.
Yes.
On the cleaning time, when it goes to events, can we also stipulate on those contracts a cleaning, like a set time that they have this much time to clean it? Not like, say, the event ends at midnight, they come back the next day, late in the afternoon to finish cleaning up the event. This goes for tournaments or anything like that. Can we stipulate
Well, are we
something
gonna-
like that on there?
You're talking about for
Anything,
baseball or
whether-
for,
Either an event for the multi-purpose.
because if it's turnkey, it's gonna be us, right?
Well, if it's us, that's fine, but
Yeah.
say in an outside event that's gonna be taking care of their own cleaning, can we stipulate
Well, we're gonna put in the
At
rental
times-
now that we're gonna do it.
for everything across
Yeah,
the board?
that way it's
Okay.
just taken care of and we don't run into those
Okay.
issues.
Exactly.
That way, we take care of it, it's included in the fee, and we
Okay.
just take care of it. That way, we don't have to, like
That
you
way
said,
it's not
wake
an
up to a
eyesore
dirty
out there.
park on the following morning,
Yeah.
or the following day.
Okay.
So that takes care of Municipal Park. Are any questions? And I'll make those adjustments, and we'll get that.
Now, the batting cages
I'm sorry, yes, they're in there too.
on Municipal Park, you mentioned they're $50 per hour, right?
Hour and 30 minutes.
30 minutes, which is good. Now, my question to you is, have they installed the lights? Not yet, right?
They just put the pole in today.
Oh, they did?
They did put the pole in today.
Okay.
So I met, as soon as I saw that out there, and got with our supervisor, and we're already getting pricing on all the lights. We already know what's needed, we're just getting the pricing, and we'll get going on that as early as next week.
And so what's gonna be the cap time? You know,
Summertime will probably be about 10 o'clock,
really?
yeah. I mean, if we can keep it open and they want to come out, I think summertime, 10 o'clock. Once we get into the fall, we'll probably bring it back down to about 8 o'clock, and cut it there. Yeah, with school time. But in the summer, I mean, hot days, if our kids want to come out and, rent the facility and use it, and, I'd rather have them there at the park practicing than out doing other stuff.
Rental, the fields, the turf fields, do the cages, is that part
No,
of the deal?
separate. It's going to be
It's gonna be
separate,
separate.
yes. Yes, once this goes into effect, if you rent the field, that's the field. You rent the cage, that's the cage. They're high-quality facilities, and I think we had to, it was just best to separate them all.
Yeah,
And-
because I know I'm gonna they're gonna ask,
Right,
hey, if I rent the fields, does the cage come with it?
Right.
You just answered it.
right,
Exactly, okay.
And that's
No.
at both parks, right?
correct. And we still need to finish these over here because those batting cages came with the upgrade of Carmen City School Park. That was part of the initial plan. So, but it was just a kind of a skeleton of cages that they just put the poles in the nets. We need to go in and finish the bottom and
Concrete down.
put concrete down and finish those up.
Forfeiture funds, pal? Quitamos that?
I have a question. Like, say you have, on the multipurpose field, if you have a ticketed event, how does that play into part if they want to sell alcohol, PD, security, all that? Is that already part of your contract? Is that separate?
Once
or-
they rent it, they have to provide all
ultimately
the
responsible.
insurances and stuff to get that
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
So the city won't be liable, it'll
Right.
be the event that'll be
Right.
responsible for all that, okay.
And we'll have a whole harmless and the contracts that are, I've got a couple of contracts that I need with city manager just to look at and make sure it fits us. And then we can adopt it and go forward. Any other questions on the two parks? All right, the last item on there is the recreational program fees.
I've been to the swimming pool, you mentioned in fees.
I'm
Do
sorry?
you have a swimming pool?
It's there because it was already there. So if it was already there, we didn't really mess with it yet.
That is something that we're looking in the future.
But it is something we are looking into the future. And once we do get it, then we'd come back and amend the ordinance again.
Can I ask a question? What is the status of the pool? Is it, I know it's not functional, is that something that's in the future project to renovate, to fix, or do away with?
Actually, is maybe not necessarily to renovate, but maybe to reconstruct
To
one.
reconstruct
Yeah.
from the
new one,
bottom up.
Completely right. It'll probably
Okay.
be a lot cheaper than renovating what we currently have.
Just start again?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the old one, it doesn't, the renovations go past the grandfather clause, so you have to totally bring it up to par to ADA standards and the
Had several conversations, but
The law.
hoping that we can get it again.
yeah, we need a municipal pool. So the registration fees, so, they vary in what they went up in, depending on the costs of the program. $5, some went up $10. Our summer programs are what went up the most, $15, which are our TAF sports. I know that looks on the surface $50, but what we provide for them, I think it was very reasonable. It's basically comes down to $25 a month. And that, not only do we provide the practices and the coaching, and I think staff does a really good job of bringing in quality coaches. We have an NCAA champion on staff right now. We've got several coaches that have, been at the collegiate level, are working with our kids. Then we provide transportation to and from the events. We send snacks, we send, Gatorades, waters, granolas, bananas, make sure the kids are taken care of. And then, of course, to the regional event and the state event. So we've been doing $30, so now we're going to $50. I know it's a $20 increase, but when you break it down per month, it's a pretty reasonable cost. All our other programs, like I said, from shirts to caps, everything's going up $2 or $3 per item. Equipment, even baseballs. Can't find a dozen baseballs for less than $50 now. A dozen, and we go through those pretty quickly. Football uniforms, equipment. So all that we took into consideration in raising the fees.
So we're gonna have all these sports here that you have,
The plan is to have sports, yes.
full blown.
Yes. Yes, sir.
Adult men's softball fees, is that including other, like the co-eds and all that, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah.
That's a team fee.
I say we increase that to $50. I'm saying
We charge them $50?
300, no,
Increase
400.
$50.
Oh, to 400. Okay.
I think McAllen charges 500, and they're dirt fields. Or unless this commission wants to leave it at
What's
350.
it, Pat, around,
$350 right now.
no, softball?
$350 a team. No, McAllen's a little bit higher.
500.
Yeah,
And they're
it's
dirt
established. It's, we were new. We were just coming on.
At $50,
But if,
come on.
yeah, that's fine. We can go 400.
Huh? 400? Yeah, McAllen's 500, and it's just pure dirt.
Actually, I think the other day I told you we had 4 co-ed, we had 6.
You got 6?
Yeah, so we have 10 softball men's on Thursdays, and we had 6 co-ed teams, so it's growing. Yeah, it's growing.
Build it, they will come, Moise.
So,
right, any-
so the important thing here, before we move on, I was told I had to do this by the finance department. No, I'm just kidding. So,
Leroy.
so we had a lot, so over the last couple of years, we've had a lot of registrations, and then for whatever reason, you know, and I understand there's some good reasons at times, but they'll decide just not to play, and we get bombarded with refunds. And we refund them the whole amount, you know, no questions asked, especially before but not taking into consideration, there's personnel time, there's writing the check, mailing it out, all these little things that add up to a refund. So, approved refunds before the program starts, we want to implement a $5 service fee, that we would stay with $5 if it's an approved a refund. And once the program has started, and they haven't, you know, they decided not to play, but the program has started, that means there's been additional costs already involved. We would do a $15 service fee. So that at least, you know, we're making up for lost time and personnel time and paper time. And
Uniforms have already been ordered.
forms have been ordered. A lot of times, not every time, a lot of times, yes, it does get filled by somebody, like on a wait list or something, but not all the time. So we have to find a balance there to, you
So
know.
what's a common, you know, refund, like,
Well, the cost of the program.
no, I get that, but,
So we've always just refunded like that, like you said?
Pretty much, like if the program hadn't started, we would just refund, I mean, they're not gonna play, we would just refund them. We didn't have anything in place.
have you run into where the kid starts playing the sport, and then like within
yeah.
a week or 2 weeks, hey, I want my refund?
That's what you said, right? That's why you want to charge more,
That's why I wanna charge them more.
as the later you.
Now, pretty much, if games have started,
That's my point.
if games have started and they've participated and then they wanna get out, well, at that point, we don't refund them.
You can set something up past the second game or of the
Yeah,
season.
well, basically, we're just putting, once the program starts, and we'll
Okay.
let them know, this is the day one of the program, which is the first day of practice, basically. Because by practice day, we've ordered stuff. We've ordered equipment, ordered uniforms, not necessarily the first day of games, the first official day of practice. That's day one of the season. And we'll have plenty of literature at the office, and we'll put it online, make sure that they're aware of these fees, so that when they register, they know, hey, once I register, there's a minimum of $5, could be up to 15. It varies. I mean, we've had sometimes. Now, if a league doesn't make, if a division doesn't make, well, that's on us.
Exactly.
We're gonna give them the whole thing. And I understand there's certain emergencies that are beyond our control. You know, a child breaks an arm or breaks a leg, hopefully that doesn't happen. Something like that, you know, it's different. Can do anything about that. You know, that will take, but just
Yeah,
because,
but
I
if
mean,
they're
it's,
playing or the
Right.
first 2 games, no, I want out, that's a different story.
that's a different story.
I think you have to be careful, I mean, that's my thing, putting first day of the program or any day thereafter, they're gonna be expecting that refund, say the last day, I mean, depending on the parent. So you know how you put, right, requested on the first day of the program begins or any day thereafter. Any day thereafter doesn't mean the first day of practice or the first day,
Well, that's when the $15 kicks in.
right. But say if they're halfway through, they shouldn't get a refund. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think.
Whether they played or not, you're saying?
Yeah, like there has to be some type of stipulation. I think we have to have some type of cutoff date on a refund, is what I'm saying.
Oh, got you.
Do you know what I mean?
Like a store,
Right.
30-day, man. you
I
get
guess
this,
we just
see
we
now.
put,
think we
once
need to-
games
You know
begin,
what?
no
I
refunds.
really think that's really gonna be your discretion. Because, I mean, let's say there's a kid who. Yeah, exactly.
Situational.
Let's say-
It will be
let's say
situational.
He writes it out, the child, right? And for some reason, the coach is not playing him.
Right.
You know, it's the third, fourth week, and then the parents come and, look, Mr. William, my kid's not even playing, there's no proof that there's no game. I mean, we can't do that
Right.
to that parent, you know what I'm saying? So I think we really need to look at, it's gonna be a case by case.
And word it situational or something so that you know, because if it's a kid that's playing and they're just not happy because the team isn't winning, that's not justifiable refund.
And I agree with what Mayor just said, because a lot of times, some coaches, as we always tell them, you have to play each kid X amount of innings. Sometimes they just don't, and I don't think it's fair. And of course, there's a log, because there's rosters, obviously, when they play, so you know how many times it's played.
So we can add a clauses like, I would imagine the department has the discretion to either
Yeah, I think.
allow or not allow any type of refund,
We
once
could
the
put
date.
We could put the date
Right.
and then put, and condition it on, the city or the director having discretion.
Right,
I
yeah.
think it'd be safer to put something and then put some discretionary language after you've already put a date. So that way you can use that provision to, you know, for the extreme circumstances or whatever.
So when we identify the first day of the program, it's a $15 and/or the city has, or the department has the discretion to, I guess we'd have to word it properly.
We'll figure it out, but
Right.
kinda just.
Okay.
What about the boxing?
We don't, yeah, we didn't have that yet, so we didn't
But
include it.
we're headed that way.
We're working on it, yes.
Okay, so you don't think that should have been included in here?
I mean, we could have included it, but we just haven't
Or we do?
had
just
an
come back
opportunity
and-
to look at, like,
Can amend it.
Amend it?
oh, yes,
Oh.
yes, we
But
can
I
come
think
back
it's
and
one of
add it.
those that we need to.
Okay, and my last question, Mr. Willingham, I know you put here, you know, you have basketball and volleyball. As far as, is there an MOU in place with the school district?
Last week, I emailed superintendent and the athletic director. I had a conversation with the athletic director, discussed some of the items that the city manager and I had looked at as far as some of the specific wording on who's eligible and not eligible. I don't know, and I don't want to assume anything. Maybe they meant it one way and it just read a different way. I'm not sure, but I listed the items, you know, number by number. I got with legal and had them look at it. And we went number by number where we had questions on, which was the specific participant, and then the swimming pool, the certified pool operator, who's in charge of that. And then the other one that they had, that I kind of overlooked, but it was a good point, was maintenance on the fields. Did it strictly mean fields at the city school park only, which is the little Desert Storm field, or what we call Desert Storm? Or does it mean any field, whether it's district or not, in the city of San Juan? That would include RYMS, Austin Middle School, and the high school, if we were to use them. So it wasn't clear as far as what they meant by we are to maintain those facilities. So I listed one by one where we had questions on, and I'm just waiting for the response.
Because the way I interpreted it was that only kids, when I first read the MOU,
Correct.
and I know I spoke to yourself and Mr. Arjona about it, and the verbiage on it, and I really didn't agree with it, because one point that was, I mean, that popped out was that it was only for kids who were attending PSJA ISD
Correct.
schools.
And that's
Well,
the way it
We got kids
read,
who go to Vanguard and who IDEA, and you know what I'm saying?
but that live in the city.
Exactly, and their families pay taxes too as well, to the
Right.
school district. So that's why I kind of shot it back.
Well, my concern back to them, we could do it on the flip side too. We have a lot of employees that are employed by the district, that their kids attend school here, but they don't live in the cities. But we allow them to play here because they go to school with these kids. So it's the same kind of deal, whether they live here and don't attend school, or attend school but don't live here. So we just wanted to clear up that verbiage so
How
that
soon
we're all
can you
clear and
get
on the same
that
page.
MOU back?
I sent it to him, last Wednesday,
Okay,
and I'm waiting for a response.
okay. Yeah,
The AD, because he was copied on it, because he also agreed with some of that
you just
language.
follow up on that.
And I'll follow up on it and
And
see how
that,
fast
I
we can get
believe
it back.
that is the last question I have, but I don't know if we want to go ahead and just table this item, or we can just approve the recreational program registration fees right now, or do we just table the item completely?
I would,
Gotta go over them?
if obviously there's modifications that are being made now that he's got some feedback from council, it probably would be better unless there's some urgency regarding the fees right now. You have a tournament coming up.
Are
If
you already
table it,
collecting-
it'll
you're
come-
collecting
It'll come
fees
back
right
in the
now?
next meeting anyway, next 2 weeks.
The only one that was probably of big urgence would, well, a little bit would be the registration fees. Only
That's what I'm
because
saying.
we want to start registering already for the fall.
No, but what I'm trying to say is is it okay we can approve the registration fees? Just those items right there.
Section D.
You could approve a section of the ordinance.
Section D.
Section D.
The problem is that this is by way of this is an ordinance amending chapter 1 of the general provisions, so section D, yeah, you could approve section D, and then the rest of the sections, once have been modified, they can bring it back for you,
And so on the record, can we amend the adult men's softball team fee from 350 to 400? Okay.
yeah, you could approve a subsection with any of the amendments or the fee, or the amendments that are being requested by council.
And I guess when we come back again, then, yeah, we'll make sure you have all the other changes that we
Yes,
discussed.
I have noted them all.
And so we can put it,
Yeah, we'll do them all in one.
So right now, we're just separating D.
yeah,
D.
we'll approve D right now, and then we'll come back and
Okay.
table the other additional items. Okay, with that said, I'm gonna make a motion to approve D with the amending the adult men's softball team fee from 350 to 400. That's in my motion. Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, and on the additional items under parks, we'll go ahead and table this item. Move to make a motion to table this item. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This item has been tabled. Thank you, Mr. Willingham.
Thank you guys for other input.
The next item under discussion and possible action on the following matters: discussion and possible action to authorize a budget amendment from retained earnings from an emergency repair of a sinkhole at the wastewater plant in an amount not to exceed $60,000, and authorize the mayor to execute all related documents. Mr. Salinas?
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I had uploaded some photos there. I don't know if you were able to see it, but during the last rainstorms, we had a collapse of the sewer line. The first photo, which is number 48, you can see the fence poles still in the hole there. That has since been removed. And we did receive 2 quotes. One of them was for $77,000 and change. The other one was for $50,000. Of course, we're recommending the $50,000 one. The reason we're asking for $10,000, once we got some more information, the line that's underground that collapsed and failed is actually a ductile iron line. So if you can see in the hole, there is no remnants of a line there. It's ductile iron, so it's metal, it's steel pipe. So as you can see in the hole, there's no remnants of a line being there. So we're hoping that once we start digging, excavating, or they start digging and excavating to add the new line, that there's still line for them to tie onto. So we added an additional $10,000 just in the event they have to add additional pipe to be able to connect. I will be coming back to you all with a different expense once we do this repair. We are going to clean the line, televise it, and we're probably going to have to either replace the entire line. I'm suggesting we do a cure-in-place repair. So basically, it'll be in situ forming the line. We'll come clean it out, have a contractor come in and run a liner through the pipe. It'll be the quickest and possibly the most inexpensive one. Plus, all of them are on buy board, so it'd just be a matter of just getting a buy board price from both of the 2 different companies that do this. One of them's called in situ form. The other one is, I forget the name of the company there, but it's a different type of material. It's a little bit more rigid. That one has to be cured with UV. The in situ form gets cured with a hot water resin. So it activates the resin, and then it sets in place. So it pressurizes and compresses. So based on the current status of that pipe, I'm just afraid that the rest of the line is probably in similar or about to collapse, but it is an old ductile iron pipe.
Any questions for Mr. Salinas? If not, is there a motion approved? Been second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next item, consider resolution authorizing the city of San Juan to submit and accept an application for the 2020 Operation Stone Garden application to the Office of the Governor and Homeland Security Grants Division for the city of San Juan. Mayor Commissioner, this is an item that, it's the yearly one. This is a resolution that we
Standard
submit.
that we do every year,
Exact, so that we
correct?
can apply for those grants.
Okay, perfect. Okay, is there a motion approved? Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
The next item on the consent agenda, we have item A, B, C, and D. You can pull any of these items out if you would like to discuss them further, or you can, move on them all together.
At this time, is there any items that we need to modify or amend under consent agenda? Modify or amend? With that being said, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Go ahead, sir.
Next item on the executive session, the San Juan City Commission will convene executive session according with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Vernon, Texas statutes, and co-sanitary government code, chapter 551.07, consultation with attorney. We have item 1 pursuant to section 551.071, consultation with attorney, discussion and possible action regarding the issues concerning a festival event to take place in October 2021.
Okay. That being said, is there a motion to enter an executive?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. We will be entering executive session at 7:12 PM. We're back from executive session. Is there a motion to reconvene?
So move.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Under executive session,
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to go
sorry.
ahead and,
What time?
time.
7:51?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead and make a motion to go ahead and, authorize the city manager to enter in, discussions with Cultura, marketing contract,
With Cultura Market.
as discussed in executive.
Okay, that's in the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting has been adjourned at 7:51.